So after we had a few days in Great Smoky Mountains National Park area, we had kind of like a long haul because between there, we were going to Gettysburg was like our next big destination. So that's a lot of real estate in between Smoky Mountain National Park and Gettysburg. So we had like an overnighter in Virginia and an overnighter in West Virginia.
Our goal when we were trip planning was that we wanted to go see some major sites, and we knew that there was a lot of drive time between them. But we tried to be really intentional without having any time where we were just, driving all day and sleeping in a Walmart parking lot. We really wanted to make sure that we made the best of every stop and saw something at every stop. I think that was the trip's a little different with everything going on with COVID. And I think it was a good reminder for us that there's something great about pretty much anywhere you can go. And we really wanted to take advantage of making the best of any place we could go. So we did that on our, we had 3 days to get to Gettysburg, and we tried to make the best of it.
Yeah, so the first place we stopped was a nice KOA in Wytheville, Virginia. And something else that we did too, and it's actually going to be one of our like highly recommended things, is Walmart grocery pickup. So anytime we were going into even a small town, if they had a Walmart with grocery pickup, we basically went through and we have a calendar over on one of our doors that, we put the zip codes of where we're going to be. And we would, a couple days ahead of time, meal plan, figure out what groceries we needed. That way, when we got there, it was like waiting for us. So we'd unpack, and either that afternoon or the next morning, we'd go to Walmart and get our grocery pickup. And then we were set for another like 4 or 5 days. So that's one of the things we did in Wytheville.
And it worked out. In Wytheville, we booked 2 nights. And then as we were heading there, we're like, why did we book 2 nights? We probably could have gotten away with just one. And it turned out well because I may have had a minor freak out.
I was like, at first I was like, what do you, oh, yes.
Yeah. So I found not one, but I found 2 fleas.
2 fleas.
2 fleas in Elliot's bed. And I freaked out. And I was terrified. I had visions of like a horrible infestation, and I don't even know what you do in an RV with an infestation of fleas. So I wanted to wash
everything in like super hot water, but like we're on the road.
So it worked out. It was actually the only time we used a laundromat the entire trip was in Wytheville. I spent some quality time in the KOA laundromat so I could wash everything we own in super hot water, and we never saw another flea, but it made me feel a lot better to know that just in case, everything was washed in industrial machines in super hot water.
Fred got a couple baths, so the great flea conspiracy was thwarted.
It was very scary. We're also really excited. We stayed right across from the pool, and the pool had really cool slides, and as we pulled into registration, the kids were like, yeah, this is going to be amazing. And apparently the slides and pools were still closed in Virginia.
Yeah. So it was really nice to look at. We were parked, so we like had to stare at it the whole 2 days. And the kids were just like
sad faces. An app that we used throughout the whole trip that was super helpful was All Trails. We used it a couple times before just to look for like the best place to park for trails or kind of look at reviews for trails. But it was really helpful. Again, we didn't do anything indoors for the whole trip. We didn't do any type of touristy thing. And Wytheville, Virginia is not a very large tourist destination. So it's a perfect example of how we used All Trails and looked at the city we'd be in and looked at different people's ratings for trails to see whether or not a dog can go, whether or not the kids could go, the distance, the difficulty
and distance of everything. And one of the things I like too is if you go to like Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever navigation app you use on your phone, and you look up like, XYZ trailhead, the directions that you may get may be to like a parking lot a quarter of a mile away, or, in the middle of nowhere or somewhere like where a car can't even reach. But the good thing about All Trails is if you go to the GPS point of like the actual beginning of the trailhead, like it'll bring you to the trailhead, so you can like park as close to there as possible, and you don't really have to spend like 45 minutes figuring out where you're going.
Yeah, so we had a great hike in Wytheville, and you'll see that.
All right, our first hike in Virginia. We're on High Rocks. I already forgot. High Rocks Trail. Just outside of Wytheville, Virginia. We're about 1.1 miles in. It's beautiful up here though. All right, we should be clearing pretty soon. We'll take some more video up there. All right, so 1.49 miles. We made it to the top. Everyone, how was the hike? Hike? Good hike?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very step.
I think the view is worth it.
Bethel was also the site of the first serious injury of the trip because apparently I should not be allowed to use power tools. So we recommend to everybody the X chalks for like stabilization and for like extra safety with chalking. And I tell people all the time, like, they're so easy. You just put them on real quick and we use our drill adapter and it's super easy. But apparently you still have to be really careful or you can lose the grip of it and the drill can hit you in the forehead.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So I ended up with like a literal inch tall welt on my head.
I don't remember what I'm doing. I'm hooking up the water hoses or the sewer hoses. And like Leah stands up suddenly and she's like, I think I'm gonna go sit down. And I like look at her and I'm like and like I think my face kind of like scared her. Because like it looks like she's got like a grape under her skin, like sticking out, and I'm like, you need to go inside right now.
So I did open the door and I told the kids before I walked in, whatever you do not freak out. And they're like, yeah, I won't freak out. And then Elliot looked at me and like all the color drained from his face, and he was crying. So I may have like discreetly Googled where the closest urgent care was just in case I had to go there, but. It was okay. Did a lot of ice and it turned out well.
It looked tough as nails for a few days, man.
I tried like wear my hair creatively for a couple days so you can see like the giant black and blue bruise on my face.
Yeah. So if you're using an electric cordless drill to do the X chalks, try to keep your head back a little bit.
Hold tight.
Yeah.
And move your head back. Just a little pro tip.
Yeah. And I shouldn't laugh because like a week later, I did something similar, except I hit my head on the side of the slide doing the same exact thing. I tried to get in a little closer and I'm like, it hurts, man. That thing's like metal.
Whole trip, no serious injuries. That was the only time we had to consider going to urgent care, so I'll call that a win.
That's a win.
So after washing all of our laundry, getting all our grocery shopping done, and avoiding urgent care in Wytheville, we went on through West Virginia to get to Gettysburg. We had a couple choices of which direction to go, and I was a little nervous about it, but it was amazing. We surprised the kids by taking them to an asylum.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel like the RV is an asylum.
We've threatened it numerous times, but we haven't ever actually gone to an asylum with the kids. So, but it was first off, it was way more educational than I thought. Like the history behind it was incredible. Like there was one wing that we toured. It was like built during the Civil War. So like the first wing of this place was built during the Civil War. And you like walk in there and I mean, it looks like it was built in the Civil War. But like the rest of the place had this like weird, like overlook hotel kind of shining feel to it, you know? And it was creepy in a few spots.
We liked it so much, we actually did 2 of the tours instead of just the one. So it was totally worth it. If you're ever in West Virginia, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was super cool.
All right, so driving through some of these smaller towns right now, we are in Weston, West Virginia. And we kind of teased earlier while we were driving up here that we were going to do something a little unconventional. So we are actually standing in front of the former Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. And we're about to go take a tour.